Hello, I'm Ritz Blues, and this is my GDQ submission for Super Back to the Future 2 for the Super Famicom. I'll be playing on the English patched version of the game because there are multiple unskippable cutscenes that are fairly entertaining, but I do also have the original Japanese available if that's preferred. We'll go ahead and get started in 3, 2, 1, go. So the game pretty closely follows the events of the film. After the first movie, Marty and Jennifer are about to go on a date when Doc comes back from the future in a flying DeLorean time machine and tells them, "Your kids, Marty, you gotta do something about your kids." So we go with him. We're gonna go flying off into the future and see if we can rescue Marty Jr. from some terrible fate. It sets off a chain of events that unravels your entire family. Or something along those lines. Anyway, as you can see, Super Back to the Future 2 is a platformer. It has platform-like elements in it. It does have a few issues as platformers go, but it is still arguably one of, if not the best Back to the Future game that ever came out on classic consoles. That doesn't necessarily make it a good game, but it's, arguably decent. So some of the problems it has includes very ice-like physics, and that's because we're on a hoverboard pretty much the entire game. There's lag pretty much any time there's multiple sprites on the screen, and it gets even worse if you attack enemies and there's animated sprites. And death is extremely punishing in this game. If you die, you go back to the start of the level that you're in. No exceptions, no checkpoints, no nada. So here we are in wonderful Hill Valley 2015, and there's all kinds of cool, wacky technology all over the place. Giant inflatable handguns with comically large bullets, hoverboards, hover cars, mobile trash cans. Actually, the only believable thing so far that you see is something we'll see in Stage 2, although even those are a little bit big. So we make it to Cafe 80s and we confront Griff, the first boss here, and he doesn't take too kindly to us standing up for ourselves here, so we just, we spam the jump button and he dies. Good boss fight. Not a particularly difficult fight, but it is a boss fight. So Griff, not happy with what happened there, he sends his cronies Tetris Boy, Captain Laserbeam, and Barbarisha after us to get revenge. So we're going to skate around in Hill Valley on a hoverboard for a while and try and take out his gang. So Stage 2, very similar to the Stage 1. You can see there's a bunch more of these camera drones, which, I mean, drones are a thing that we have in 2015, and although they didn't really look like that, but anyway. So this stage introduces spikes in various barriers that we have to take down to get through. There was Tetris Boy, hope you didn't blink. We're gonna damage boost here through this gate, and then we're gonna make our way up here and grab some air here as we try and land on a blue car right here. Make our way across these moving platforms. Get a damage boost here and skip a boss fight right there. Just barely made that jump, but it's worth it because making that jump means that we get past Barbarisha, the second crony. We call her that because if you fall in that pit, you have to fight her, and she all she does for about 20 seconds straight is jump in the air and spin like a tornado over and over and over and over again. There's just absolutely no stopping it. It takes like 35 seconds to get out of that pit if you fall in there. So it's a huge time loss, instant run killer if it happens. And there's Captain Laserbeam. Hope you enjoyed. And that's Biff's Cronies in Stage 2. Unfortunately, we wind up in the middle of the pond in downtown Hill Valley. And McFly, you idiot! Hoverboards don't work on water unless you got power! So Griff comes out in his pit bull, and he's gonna beat us up here. Hopefully I can get a lot more quick hits on him like that. Want to try and catch him as he's spawning from underground. Unfortunately, it's not always possible. Timing's a bit tricky. That's the worst pattern right there. So we got pretty much no quick hits there. I think one more ought to do it. Yep. Just absolutely terrible luck with it. It's a very tight jump. And there we go. So that's Griff. So that fight can go really well or it can go really slow, and we just had terrible luck with it the whole time. But at least we made it through the fight. And we have saved the day! Hooray! Marty's family in the future is saved. Travel's too dangerous, so we're going to go back in time and call it a day. So hopefully you enjoyed the run. I've been Rich Blues, and... Oh no. That's not good. Alright, so I guess it's not that simple, is it? Right? So unfortunately, Old Man Biff managed to steal the time machine when we weren't looking. And he went back in time and changed some things. And when we finally arrived back in 1985, things are not as they seem. And that's unfortunate. So we need to go back to through Hill Valley here in this sort of kind of slum part of Hill Valley and figure out what in the world is going on. What happened to everything and everyone? So in this stage, we're going to grab our first major power-up, Invulnerability here. It's going to be useful for getting past a few of these bikers without having to jump on them. So it's a bit faster than jumping, considering that it's almost impossible to jump through them. There we go. We land on this platform up here and skip a hole there, go through a fake spike there, grab a few coins. And this gets us to the next portion of the stage pretty easily compared to the normal route. Doesn't really cost us much in the way of time either. Want to make sure we have full speed when we make that jump, and unfortunately when I first tried that jump it didn't have enough, so I had to go back and try again. But otherwise, pretty decent stage 3-1. So we arrive at this big gaudy casino in the middle of town. Biff Tannen's Pleasure Paradise. Home of the Biff Tons Museums. Plural. So yeah, it turns out that for some reason Lorraine is married to Biff. We don't know why. But Marty can't take it, so he's going to go in the casino and see if he can figure out what in the world would cause his mother to marry Biff of all people. So yeah, apparently old man Biff from the future brought some really cool technology with him, because all of Biff's guards in 1985 have these like super cool tasers that can shoot sparks along the ground. I mean, it has to be futuristic technology, right? Surely technology in 1985 can't be as simple as, you know, like ground spark tasers compared to just really big handguns. That wouldn't make any sense at all. So in this stage, we have a few new enemies to deal with. Most of them aren't particularly worth noting. We do have these really annoying elevator sections, or these vertical shafts with the springboards that are quite difficult to manage. If you don't jump before touching those springboards, then you only get about halfway up the shaft. In this shaft, I didn't jump because there's an elevator, and that elevator, you know, just it takes 2 bounces no matter what to catch it. Alright, we take a hit here. That's not too bad, though. We want to jump over these next 3 platforms, though, more than anything else, because otherwise we'll fall down in the pit and wind up right at the very beginning of the stage, and that's just absolutely horrible. So here we have the most difficult, most glitched, buggy, horrible boss in the game, and he's just really weird to boot. This is Jazz Wolf. I've got to hit him 16 times. If I hit him 17 times, he will not die. So 1, right, and 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Not particularly great use of my iframes there, but that's okay. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. All right, we gotta be extra careful here. 13, 14. All right, so we got 15 here. So if we get it just right, 16, he's dead. Good fight. Really tricky. Really tricky fight. We lucked out there, managed to get 1 extra hit in before the platform fell into place, so I'm very happy with the results of that. So we're going to start moving up into kind of the high roller areas of the casino now, getting close to Biff's room. We're going to try and make our way through these spikes without taking too many hits. If we get hit here, it's okay. But if we get hit more than 2 times, it's pretty bad. So we're going to get hit here. And that's not good. Hooray. So we lose a little bit of time here. It's pretty tricky to get through here. For whatever reason, they designed this stage to have it such that the fans are just absolutely incredibly weak. And like you can just barely make it up them in the first place. There we go. So this is what we're looking for right here. Good damage boost on top of that. Saved a little bit of time after that, so that's pretty good. Alright, so the rest of the stage should be pretty much free, except for these really awkward platforms. Did I mention this game has ice physics? Alright. Come on. Oh, come on, game. There we go. Alright. Hard part's over. So we're going to grab a little extra health for safety, but we shouldn't need it if we do this correctly. The rest of it should be pretty much free. Catch this elevator here, and we'll head to the right. Do a little bit of half pipes here. Yeah, I don't know why Biff put these ramps in his casino, but I mean, I dig it. Caught a double bounce there, unfortunately. We want to skip the first 2 pits here, because those are just death traps waiting to happen. And here's where we need the extra health for the damage boost. I still have 1 more for safety, but it's worth having. And now we just take this top route out of here, and it's, you know, pretty good otherwise. And there we go. So we finally make it up to Biff's private suite, and for whatever reason, he has a lion tamer in here. Who'd have thunk it? Remember that part in Back to the Future where you fight where Marty fights a lion tamer, and some dude with a hammer? Yeah, me neither. Anyway, so this boss fight, we pretty much just bounce back and forth between these guys. Unfortunately, they linked up, so that's a little slower, but we're just going to do our best to kind of beat these guys up. There we go. Not the fastest kill, but pretty decent. Ideally, you don't want the two to meet up with one another. If you space it just right, you can get through that a little faster. So we finally meet up with Lorraine, and she admits Biff is her husband. George McFly's been the same place he's been for the past 12 years. Oak Park Cemetery. But we don't believe her, because clearly she's a liar. So we're going to go visit anyway. The least we can do, I guess, is pay dear old dad respects. So here's Oak Park Cemetery. I have no idea why there are a bunch of punks with flaming hair, bikers, and what do you call them? Weird, crazy-looking homeless dudes with red hair. Oh yeah, and Biff's personal army of red beret soldiers as well are here to take us out for some reason. No idea why. I love the machine guns they use here. They just sort of spit out this little chain of bullets that don't go anywhere, and then they suddenly start moving. Damage boost here, so we get up the platform. Grab this platform. Land up here. Jump over that. Come down here. Grab that, and an extra life. Missed the elevator because you can never really get it. It's just a little too high. So we do our little elevator dance. I'm going to jump over here, and we're going to try and get past these Yoku blocks and catch the right cycle on this moving block. Wait for it to get to the top. Jump across. Now. Turn around, and we're going to go see our dear old Principal Skinner. Slacker! Oh yeah, and Dad. Dear old Dad. So here we are. We're at Dad's grave. Rest in peace, George McFly. Died March 1973. So finally we find Doc, and he's trying to figure out what's going on. For whatever reason, he looks in a newspaper and he sees that Biff has a copy of the almanac that we saw in the future. Gray's Sports Almanac. So we need to go back to Biff and find out how Biff in the future gave Biff in the present the Gray's Sports Almanac. How, when, and where. Unfortunately, we have to go all the way back to the casino, and we're in the middle of a graveyard in a rainstorm. So here's a needless addition to the game where we have to backtrack through the exact same level in reverse, complete with a lot more lag, because why not? And on top of all that, you know, we've got just spikes and fans and just all kinds of nasty things to deal with now. So yeah, this level also introduces a necessary maneuver where you have to bounce off of enemies in order to gain enough height to get to the next platform. So this platform up there requires you to bounce off of a couple of these little spores. It's a little tricky to nail it, but we'll see what we can do here. And it's also risky trying to jump into the spores, because if you're on a platform or you land on a platform at the same time... Here we go. Got it. All right. So yeah, that's the mechanic. Apparently the devs thought that was a great idea. I might disagree on that, but, you know, I didn't make the game, so. Fortunately, in this particular area, it's not too terribly difficult to just jump across here. But the rest of it is just such a nightmare. This level is not fun. It's not fun casually. There's some funny stuff that can happen, though. Like, you can get machine guns lagging out or getting stuck where the sound clip just keeps playing. Grab an extra life there for safety. Ah! Hate when that happens. Alright, let's try and get past the rest of this. Alright, so now we gotta get up this hill here, and there's a bunch of guys with Molotovs throwing Molotovs up the hill. So we gotta pretty much just mash the jump button here and hope that we don't get hit by too many Molotovs. That was pretty good. We'll land on one of these platforms here, jump across, or not. Try that again, land there. Nope. Alright, cool. Thanks, game. I love how the timing is completely off now. Oh boy, come on, level. Let's be nice, shall we? Oh! Really? Okay. Got it. Yeah, if you missed that jump the first time, the rest of them, whether they're there or not, is totally random. There's supposed to be a bunch of spore bombs in that last room with all the springboards, but I managed to despawn them by jumping off the wall before jumping into that pit. So that's the end of 4-2, arguably one of the worst stages in the game. So we're finally back at the casino. We're in the back areas, trying to sneak our way back up to get to Biff. You know, because every good casino's got a really cool-looking industrial steel building look to it behind closed doors. I love the spring physics here. Alright. Take a hit there, no big deal. So, this area is a big maze, and it's best to always take the left path. It's just the fastest way through. What else can I say about this stage? There sure are a lot of fire axes here. No fire extinguishers, no fire hoses, just fire axes and cabinets. Just a weird level. I'm gonna grab a little fan boost there to skip those spikes. Land on that spike, or spring here, get up to the top. And grab this last little section here. And that's the end of 4-3. We get the machine gun glitch there. There we go. So we finally meet up with Biff, and he tells us that he got the almanac back in 1955 on the day that the lightning struck the clock tower. Unfortunately, he's not going to let us walk out of there with that information, so we're going to have a little fight. Now, normally this fight is kind of a puzzle. You're supposed to, like, hit the buttons and make the sparks hit Biff and try and, like, avoid his attacks, but we're just going to damage boost into him and then just spam the jump button a whole bunch. 3, 4, and 5, and that's the fight right there. Cool. Good fight. Thanks, Biff. Thanks for the information. Now we're going to go head back to 1955. Alright. I'm going to take a deep breath because this next stage is a doozy. So this is 5-1 Pink. It is casually probably the most difficult stage in the game. There's some really nasty auto-scrollers. There are spikes literally everywhere in this stage. But hey, it's 1955, right? So, like, the Karate Kid is everywhere. He's super popular. And wait, no, that's not right. I don't know why they did that. The devs put a bunch of little karate dudes running around Hill Valley in 1955 because apparently reasons. So we're going to skip an auto-scroller here. Like this. jumping up that spike and jumping over here skips about 45 seconds worth of auto-scroller stuff. It's bad. This is much better use of time. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and get to the last section here. There's one more auto-scroller at the end. It is possible to skip that auto-scroller. A couple nights ago, I did find an extremely difficult strat, I dare say a task-only strat. Hang on just a second here. Alright, so we're at 9, so we want to do like 41 seconds. So at the 41 second mark, we're going to jump in this auto-scroller because I'm manipulating the spawns here. But there is actually a task-only strat that we can get through here with a damage boost. There's tons of spikes, tons of red balloons in this area. And it's super hard. It's possible. It's really hype if you get it, but I'm not going to do it in a marathon setting at all. So instead, we'll read donations during this part if it gets into GDQ. And otherwise, we just sort of wait for this platform to arrive. By waiting that long, the red balloons that you might see across the bottom of the screen here appear way too late before they can even possibly get in my way. And that makes the rest of the stage pretty much free. Otherwise, trying to stay on that little tiny platform is just such a pain. Super hard to do. So, and you have to wait for that platform anyway, so I figure I may as well manipulate it and make it a little easier. So Skinner, we see him with what looks to be the almanac, smacking Biff, calling him a slacker before Biff goes into his garage. So we're going to go into Biff's garage, try and sneak inside there and see if we can get the almanac back. We're going to go real careful through here because I don't want to take any damage here in this first segment. Alright, we're through. So the next part we're going to damage boost through right here. And we're going to save one extra hit for the final part of the stage. So this is Biff's garage. It's full of little karate kids, spikes, and some other things that are just weird. It's another one of these levels where you just kind of ask, why did the devs do this? So here we have more of these lovely wooden doors that will spawn little karate kid dudes. Every time you kill one, they respawn immediately. So you try to avoid them as much as you can. And we also have these kids that we saw in 2015 briefly. For whatever reason, there's little kids in here that are drinking sodas. And they are throwing giant versions of the discarded cans at us from the ceiling. Just an unbelievable amount. The amount of diabetes these kids are going to have when they get older is just ridiculous. It's just absolutely unreal. But that introduces and really formally introduces what I mentioned earlier during 4-2, this need to damage boost or attack boost your way up vertical shafts using enemies to boost your height. It's such a bad mechanic, and this is not the only level that will feature it, unfortunately. So we're going to pause for a second for the Yoku blocks, catch the timing on those. Pause there, grab that. Alright, so this is what we saved the damage boost for. We're going to try and get up here without touching that spring on that side. Yep, we hit him, but that is okay. That's what we saved the extra health for. So we are good to go. So that's the end of 5-2. Ooh la la! Ooh la la! Doc, we've been had! So yeah, turns out that was just a dust cover, and Biff still has the almanac on him, so he must have taken it to the Enchantment Under the Sea dance, so that's where we're headed next. So now we get to enjoy some nice 50s rock tunes as we revisit the Enchantment Under the Sea dance as we run into these wonderful Nest clones. This is a pretty straightforward stage, not a whole lot to talk about in terms of like enemies and risky things here. Once again, we have these weird cola kids. They're back. Don't know why. Gonna try and cautiously go through here. Try and get through this next segment without... Oh well. That's unfortunate. That first nest hit really cost us there, and then the second spike wasn't particularly good either. So, but not the worst place to die in the level, I guess. Alright. So Enchantment Under the Sea Dance. So we're going to try not to take any additional hits worth of damage here. There we go. Cool. Now I can play a little more reckless with the rest of the stage now that I've got a decent amount of health. So that one particular hallway where I wound up dying is actually very dense with spikes and enemies, and taking a couple of hits beforehand wasn't good. So we managed to not quite nail the wall clip there. That's okay. Looks really funny if you do, but it doesn't really, it saves a little bit of time, I guess. There we go. And that's pretty much the hardest part of the stage. We're going to go ahead and wrap up here. For whatever reason, the devs decided that it was a good idea to put coins in boxes for this stage, and this stage only. And on top of that, make huge dust clouds that are super laggy. Because reasons. McFly punch! So, George knocks out Biff. We steal his wallet, almanac, and then Billy Zane and company come after us to try and get it back. So we're gonna fight Biff's thugs again. Matches, 3D glasses, and Skinhead. And we're gonna start by fighting Skinhead on the bottom down here. We're gonna use a little hoverboard maneuver here to try and damage him with the board itself. Alright, so we got him. That's pretty much the hardest part of this fight. There we go. If we can get just the right pacing here. Alright, so we got matches. That's pretty good. We just got to be really careful with this part here. Alright, we're in the right spot. And hit, 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 hit. And that's the fight. Good fight. Good fight. Real good fight. So that's good. So we managed to beat Biff's flunkies, but unfortunately he gets the best of us and he takes the almanac back. So Biff's going to try and skip town with the almanac, and we got to stop him, otherwise the future is doomed. So 6-1 Wink. This is like a very sour please stage. It has the infamous Reese's Puffs, as anybody who's played this game before can tell you about. These things are probably the worst enemy in the game, and it's just because of how much jump spam you have to do. The fact that you also have to use those for vertical movement later on in the stage, so that's always fun. Yeah, there's just so much to say about this level, and we're going to try and skip as much of it as we can. Our good friends, the red derpy balloons, are back. Remember that part in the climax of the movie where Marty had to fight a whole bunch of derpy-looking red balloons? Yeah, me neither. So we're doing really well in this stage. We're at full health. Hopefully things go well with this first vertical boost. So we need to try and get across this platform here without taking a hit. Alright, we're good. Now, we just need to land it. Good, okay. So that's the second difficult part. And we're going to make the third difficult part a lot easier. We're going to damage boost past these guys to save a little bit of time. We got a little bit extra health here, so we're going to do another damage boost right here. And we're going to jump off this cliff right here. Hold right. And this part is basically free now. As long as I don't let go of run and the right button, we will get across here no problem every time. Easy peasy. Alright. So that is the end of 6-1. That's the last platforming level. Last part, the climax, we got to beat Biff. So we're racing through traffic here. We've caught Biff in his convertible, and we're just gonna beat him up until we can get the almanac. Time is after we hit him, after we see the almanac. 2 and 3, 4, 5, and 6. All right, there we go. Time 34:50. So pretty good time. Definitely still a little bit of time for improvement, but overall, a pretty darn good run. I would put the estimate of this game at about 45 minutes or so. If it, well, 40 minutes. That's our reward there. A lovely cutscene with Biff, and that's pretty much the game. So I think this would make for a pretty good silly block game. I mean, there's definitely some really weird-looking sprites and strange design choices made in this game. Overall, it's a pretty straightforward game. There's a bit of punishment if you mess up some of the harder tricks in the game. So I would actually make the estimate fairly generous. I would put it at between 40 to 45 minutes. If things go bad in this run, they go really bad. Thankfully, every level has a password. And so if things go bad, we can sort of mercy kill whatever level we're on and move on to the next level in the interest of time. If I wind up, you know, stuck on a particularly difficult level during the marathon, I shouldn't have to do that. I've played this a whole bunch, and as you can see, you know, it's not that difficult to get through. But so even though there's a lot of unsafe strats and difficult stages that can be very punishing, we do have ways to get past things if things get too dicey. So hopefully you enjoyed the run. I'm Ritz Blues. I hope to see you at the marathon. Hopefully you enjoyed it. So thanks for watching.